Yeah. So, if you are hearing these smooth, sultry sounds, then that means it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Slow It Down Sunday with yours truly, Mr. Always Making Plays. Now, on tonight's episode, we are going to dibble and dabble and talk about a few things that we have heard coming out of minicamp. We're going to do a little contract talk. And we're also going to forecast a little bit into the season. But you all sit back, sit tight, get comfortable, grab your favorite libation, whatever your vice is. Hell, your favorite blanket. And y'all can know Diddy. Hey, yo, DJ, drop that beat for me, dog.
Twizzy is my producer, beats all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they know.
Y'all know what time it is. Let's go.
Yeah, they say nothing comes from a dreamer. I'm just here to let you know we been hustling 24/7, 365. Get that dope. Don't know when I'm gon' stop, cause that paper feels so good. Turning and gripping grain, leather seats with the wood. And she loves to roll with me, she hold it down shotgun. Windows tinted, so you know she blow me shotgun. And I'm riding in the whip to the money. Drop y'all, they come back in for the money. They call me Mr. Certified. Come and get that kid right. I'm trying to see the world, been I keep. Come take a flight, I can see it now. Twins winning a Grammy. Them haters gon' be mad. You know they can't stand me, but it's so cool. I'm just reppin' for my team. Check the stats, pimpin'. We playin' for that ring.
No flexing.
Sit back, watch me do me. If you ain't heard, they love that twin.
Let's go.
And they know, 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 and they know. They love my shit.
They love my shit.
They love my shit.
They love my shit.
And they know, 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 and they know. They love my shit.
They love my shit.
They love my shit.
Let's go. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what time it is. Unfortunately, another weekend has forsaken us. So that means that another work week is on the horizon. I'm gonna pause right there, y'all, because AMP is very transparent. AMP is human, and I have had my fair share of difficulties with my current employer at this point in time. But nonetheless, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm going into Monday morning focused, locked in, and ready to work. The same thing we as fans require our players to do, right? No matter what it is that they may have going on in their personal lives, no matter what their relationship is like with their coaches or management, shoot, even some of the fans, you know, because y'all know y'all like to get spicy on the X, right? But nonetheless, you know, we expect our players to show up, and not only show up, but to show out on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a game-by-game basis, right? So, y'all, I'm excited. I'm going to tell you why I'm excited, because what would seem like it would be such a long stretch of time, right, has actually been cut in half. Because at this point in time, there are no more OTAs. There are no more voluntary workouts. There's no more conditioning exercise. Well, it'll be conditioning, but, you know, there's no more voluntary conditioning activities. And minicamp is behind us, y'all. Can you believe it? Like, it is June. I just looked at my calendar the other day, and I'm like, Lord, we are just about halfway through 2024, period. And so with that, y'all, the announcement came out that your Dallas Cowboys will be departing yet again for Oxnard on July 22nd. There are also reports that this year, because of the way the calendar fell and when they're showing up, this will be your Dallas Cowboys' longest stretch in Oxnard. So much so that, I mean, we won't even break camp until our final preseason game. I'm excited. I'm excited because not so much that the season is on the horizon, but I'm excited about what camp brings. I'm excited about these the matchups between, you know, our defense and our offense. I'm looking to see who emerges. You know, we got some players, some cuss players who, you know, elevated last year, but they still have room for improvement. I'm looking at who will seize the moment, who will win the crowd, right? It's just an exciting time because you have individuals who are in the process of not only cementing their place on this team, but they're looking to cement their legacy in the National Football League. Now, if you all will excuse me for just a second, allow me a moment to get a little comfortable. It's Slow It Down Sunday, so you know how I am, dude. I got to get mine. This is a Perdomo Reserve 10th anniversary special edition. Yeah. So, we are going to start on the offensive side of the ball. So before we really talk about the individuals who were there, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about who wasn't there. So by this point in time, you already know that CeeDee Lamb was not present for a mandatory minicamp, which means, unfortunately, that he has lost out on a little over $100,000 due to the fines for not being present. You know, it's unfortunate and it sucks because B Bird in the building. Salute, big dog. Good to see you, man. Glad to have you. I'm a little upset and a little disappointed in it. It stems with a conversation that I had with Boss Cowboy the other day. And you know, when you look at teams and players and these different contract situations and who has the leverage, right? Well, one could argue that the player has the leverage, right? Especially a player of the caliber like CeeDee Lamb, right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. If we go out there week one, right, and we have our fearless quarterback at the helm, and we've assembled our offensive line, no telling what that'll look like. We'll dive into that a little bit later, so y'all stay tuned. But we got our O-line. We got Fergie out there. We got our back in the backfield. That we're going to dive into a little bit later because y'all know we taking the committee approach. But we're going out there week one, and we have all these pieces in place, right? And then you look to the left and you look to the right, and CeeDee Lamb is not there. And you got Brandon Cooks and the Jalen's, right? Let's be honest. Do you think teams would honestly fear our vertical game the same way without that guy there? And if you think so, you're absolutely absurd. So CeeDee has some leverage. He is going into the final year of his contract. And we all know, according to Jerry, that the leaves continue to fall. And probably one of the biggest leaves that fell this offseason was the Minnesota Vikings signing Justin Jefferson. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that deal was worth what, $140 for 4 years, about $35 million a year, right? And we all know Justin Jefferson is that dude. He's that dog. He is a producer, and he's been producing, quite honestly, with less than what CeeDee Lamb has had, right? Nonetheless, he makes no excuses. He goes out there and he just balls. Pause. And so after that signing, the reports came out that immediately after that signing, your quarterback, Dak Prescott, called CeeDee Lamb. Now, I don't know what that conversation went like, but I'm going to just say, if it was me and my homeboy, right, it might go a little something like this. Ring, 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 ring. Yo. What's good, man? Man, you know, chilling, man. Just trying to stay right, you know, before the season. Hey, dog, I just got it across my phone, man. That boy Jetta got that deal, man. And CD says, what? Oh, he got signed. Let me see. Let me check. And he scrolls his phone and he looks down and he sees it. He was like, no. He got that bag. And then Dak Prescott says, hey, guess what, dog? You up next. What you gonna do, man? What you gonna do, bruh? Man, I got no choice but to get that bag too, dog. Look, y'all. I do not know what the numbers will look like when the announcement comes across our cell phones, our computers, our laptops. I'm not going to speculate too much on the number, but I am confident to say that it will be somewhere within that ballpark, right? And according to Micah Parsons, he said he believes that CD should get 36, right? That's his homeboy looking out for him, right? Now, one thing we do know about the Dallas Cowboys is they like to keep that purse close. They'll give up the money, but they'll give it up begrudgingly, you know? You know how it is, man. You know, rich folks, a lot of people seem to think that, folks who are wealthy in that realm seem to, just pass it out freely. But we know, Cowboys fans know that is not the case, right? They don't pass it out like that. And they don't do it quickly, for the most part. When they do give it out, it's because they feel like they've won. They've caught a player in a compromising position, such as an injury, and they throw an offer at him, and that player, in a time of desperation, in a low moment, probably against their better wishes, says, you know what, let me go ahead and lock this in since I am how I am at this current state. And I don't want to miss out on my blessing. And they go ahead and ink it. Or you'll have a player who knows that that their options are limited in the National Football League. Talking about the season vets now, and they say, you know what, I want to keep playing. Some money is better than no money. And they take what's being offered at them. Just like the ducks in the park. You throw the bread at them. If this is what you got, I'll go ahead and take it. But CeeDee Lamb, just a couple years ago, y'all, the question was on the table. Who is the Dallas Cowboys' number one wide receiver? Is it Amari? Is it CeeDee? And both of those individuals brought a great set of skills to the table. Though different, they were both very valuable to this organization. Every time I think about Amari Cooper, unfortunately, y'all, I get upset because I wish we still had his skill set on this team. And unfortunately, the void in that room has yet to be filled. And when I say that void has yet to be filled, yes, CD is now our new number one, right? But CD's spot never got filled. We did sign Brandon Cooks and brought him in on last year. And at first, it took a while for him and Dak to get to get acclimated in this new remix of a system that Mike McCarthy implemented. But as the season went on, they began to find their sweet spot. They found their rhythm. They found their chemistry, right? Dak knew where Cooks was going to be. Cooks knew what point he had to get to on the field. And they made it work. But I still don't feel, y'all, I still don't feel like we've really shored up that spot. And not to mention, we did see an elevation of Jalen Tolbert on last year. The stories and reports have come out that, He, in year one, was lacked confidence, lacked a little confidence, was unsure of his responsibilities, right? Trying to get acclimated to the NFL. And it just didn't quite fit for him in year one. And then we had the departure of Kellen Moore, and then, you know, we implemented a new system. And at that moment, you saw an injection of life into that receiver. And though he had limited opportunities on last year because of Michael Gallup, he wasn't able to really blossom as we would have liked for him to. And so he still has work to do. You know, I would love to see him continue to elevate and shore up that number 3 spot, or even potentially take over number 2. You know, I'm open to it all. I don't have any favorites. I'm not biased towards anybody. I just want the best 3 to 4 receivers on the field at all times. And then I also want to pair that with a variety, if you will, of receivers. You know, we've got CD. He's very versatile. He can play all 3 positions. You've got Cooks, who has played a lot of the Z, if you will, Y in some instances. But I really want to see Cooks improve this year. I want to see Tolbert improve this year. But we've also heard we've also heard reports of the other individuals in that room so far this season who are turning heads. And those individuals have been Kevontae Turpin, Jalen Cropper, but you've also heard some noise about Jalen Brooks as well. And I mentioned earlier the excitement leading into training camp, right? Because of the battles, the fights. You have individuals who are literally scratching, clawing, tooth and nail, trying to lock themselves into a position on this 53-man roster, or at least to be good enough for the Cowboys to retain them on the practice squad, and eventually hope that they can perfect their craft there and then work their way up to the 53. But my personal belief, based off of some of the things that I've heard, while we're talking about this room, y'all, I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. And it's unfortunate because at the time that it happened, I felt like it was a super reach. And what is Amp talking about, y'all? Amp is talking about the signing last year of Deuce Vaughn. Now, I know it was an incredible, and I mean incredible, feel-good story, y'all. But that individual has not been able to find his way onto the field thus far in Dallas. You know, I know he's, son of a scout, did some great work at TCU, but I am not sold, and apparently the Cowboys are not sold on the fact that he can be a productive back on this team. I'm not going to go as far as to say in the NFL, but he is not looking like they believe in him as being a back on this team, and that is Deuce Vaughn. We heard the reports coming out that surprisingly they were trying him out in the slot Now, I know he is a speedy guy. He's a shifty guy. You know, once he gets the ball in his hands and he is in space, you know, he has that Pollard-ish explosion. You know, Turpin-ish explosion, right? Make a couple of guys miss, off to the races. Small target, you know, hard to hit, hard to lock in on, but nonetheless still very productive, right? In space. But they're trying to do that at wide receiver. Now, you just heard me mention some of the guys who I expect to elevate in the wide receiver room this year. So you can look, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So, Cowboys Nation, I'm probably going to do a video on this, but there is, on this organization, there has been a big push for getting more physical this year, right? And so I couldn't help but notice, I couldn't help but think, and in various positions too, tight end, receiver, you know, the guys on the line that we brought in, and there is one common theme amongst these individuals.
Big back, big back, big back, big back.
We got some big guys on this team at their respective positions, y'all. And I'm excited because that big body caddy, that Ryan Flournoy, has been turning some heads in training camp, y'all. And honestly, quite frankly, and I'm not making a comparison to him yet. I'm not making a comp to him yet. But Ryan Flournoy, the way that he has been high pointing the ball with those massive hands and that big body frame, you can't help but think Dez-ish when you see this individual on the football field. I saw a couple of leaked video clips and I was like, ooh, got a little chill around my back. And from what I've been being told and with the play that I saw, crisp route. Not saying he's a route master like an Amari Cooper, but he runs crisp routes. He high points the ball and he gets those massive hands on the ball. Great catcher of the football, hand catcher of the football, no body catching. He, ladies and gentlemen, could also force his way onto this squad. And so when you look at the depth chart, right? Okay, you got CD and Cooks, right? And then you got the three Jalen's, and you got Flournoy. Where is there room for another receiver at on this roster? Because if you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and Terp somewhere in the mix. Not saying that he's number 7, but that's kind of, to me, that's your top 7 guys right there. Where does Deuce Vaughn fall into that category? Where does he fall in? I don't see it, y'all. And unfortunately, I think this may be the beginning of the end of Deuce Vaughn's storybook career in Dallas. Not saying the NFL, because I'm sure some teams out there whose room may not be of the caliber that we have. And they may say, you know what? Hey, let's go ahead and bring the little fella on in, you know? Let's bring the little fella in, you know? So, I wish him the best. I really do. I wish him the best. Now, you know, out of the three Jalen's, or even Turpin, I really have it. I'm gonna reserve those comments. I need to see some more in camp. I need to see how those individuals do in pads with someone against them, trying to actively stop them, physically stop them from getting the football. I need to see that before I pass judgment. Got to take my own advice. Slow before you know. Now, switching gears to this offensive line, I have been told that Tyler Guyton has been running with 2s and 3s. I've also been told that Cooper Beebe has been running with the 2s. I don't think those moves are a telltale sign that these guys aren't where we thought they were. I believe it is Mike Solari and the offensive coaches allowing these individuals to get their feet under them, to solidify and build upon their fundamentals, and to learn all of the nuances as it relates to playing their respective positions on the offensive line. Learn from the vets, see the vets, hear the vets, hear the coaches, learn the playbook, grasp the concepts of each individual play, understanding the assignments, knowing what my role is, how I need to chip here and then work my way upfield. These are not just big guys out there chopping their feet and moving their hands. It's a whole lot more to it than just that. You're talking about prime positions on your football team. And I don't know about y'all, but the individuals who are protecting my franchise quarterback that's currently on a 1-year deal, I don't need just any and everybody out there. I don't need you out there because your name is good. I don't need you out there because you perform well in college. I need you out there because you are not only capable of protecting my quarterback, but you're also capable of making a way for my running back, whomever that may be, which is the perfect segue to talk about this whole running back by committee situation. Before I do that, y'all, Now, running back by committee. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it, y'all? Now, the Dallas Cowboys, currently have technically 7 running backs on the roster. 7. That's Ezekiel Elliott, that's Rico Dowdle, that's Deuce Vaughn, that's Royce Freeman, that's Snoop Connor, that's Malik Davis, and that's Nathaniel Pete. Now, I believe the Dallas Cowboys will probably only have 3 of those running backs active on a week-to-week basis, and I believe that they may carry an additional individual, maybe 2, probably just 1, on your practice squad, because you're also going to be carrying Hunter Luepke. Now, the way it's currently slated, and based off of the way that he has spoken this offseason at the moment, it is believed that Ezekiel Elliott is your RB1. Now, I'm not going to lie, y'all. When they brought him back, I thought, and it's probably still the case, I do not see Ezekiel Elliott as in as a 20-25 rush attempt per game guy for this team the way it's currently constructed. I see Zeke being maybe 12 to 16-ish carry guy for the team. I see Rico Dowdle being a 12 to 16-ish. You know, it could be a balance. It could be even. Who knows? It may start out that way at the beginning of the season, just because of the familiarity and because of the fact that we know that Ezekiel Elliott, though he is not what he once was, he knows this team. He knows, the offense. He knows Dak Prescott. He knows a good portion of the offensive line. And he knows how to carry out and execute his role. So I believe starting out just based off of pure veteran leadership, he will have that one spot. Now, out of all of the individuals in that room, probably the most intriguing individual to me is Royce Freeman. Now, the interesting thing about Royce Freeman is this individual does not have a whole lot of wear and tear on his body. He's 28 years old, running back out of Oregon. Signed in the league in 2018. He's played for Denver, Carolina, Houston, and then the Rams prior to us. Now, you look at his tape, Freeman is pretty solid, y'all. He's pretty solid. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, why he hasn't really gotten the opportunities or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with him and why he hasn't had, a ton of usage. But the guy has a skill set that can be used on this roster. I don't know if he'll make the 53. It'll be a push. Just not sure there. It could be Zeke, Rico, and Royce. Malik Davis is still on the roster, but I like the guy, I don't know if the organization likes the guy. He's been, for the most part, a professional practice player for us the last couple of years. At times when he's gotten in the game, he showed some bursts, he showed some pop, but nothing sustained. And I don't know if it's because of the lack of opportunities or what. I don't know if it's, something they have with him personally as a player, which I don't know. It's a head scratcher. But nonetheless, everybody will have their opportunity because, the cool thing about OTAs and minicamp is you really kind of get a chance and the opportunity to see the passing game. You can do a lot there, you know. You see the routes, you see the competition, you see the hands, you know, whatever, the hand battle between receiver and the defender. But camp, now we know it's not camp how it used to be, but once those pads come on is when you can really start to evaluate your running game. Because you've got line versus line engaging one another. Your linebackers are scraping and filling, trying to find that hole to pop somebody, right? That's when you start to see the separation of the men from the boys. Also, you know, with the for sure 2 training camp games, you know, Zeke probably is not going to play. So you're going to get heavy Rico, you're going to get heavy Royce, and the rest of the gang. They will have their fair share of opportunities against live contact. You know, we aren't doing a whole lot of flashy. It's just, how are your eyes? How is your vision? How is your movement? Are you somebody who goes down at the first point of contact, or can you break a tackle and potentially make it to the second level? Then once you get to the second level, can you make those individuals miss in space? That's the things I'm going to be looking for once we get to that point. And again, like I said earlier, y'all, we are about 6 weeks out. 6 weeks. I am excited, y'all. You know, because summertime, look, the NBA finals are going on right now. I'm not sure. I'm about to pull it up in real time and see how the Mavs are doing. They in the grind right now. 63 Celtics, 61 Mavs. 7 minutes and 29 seconds left in the third. So, yeah. Unfortunately, once this series of games, once the NBA Finals has concluded, y'all, guess what? It's quiet time. There's nothing on TV. It's really no sports. I like NASCAR. I don't watch it. I don't really watch tennis or golf anymore. I like both sports, but I don't watch them like that. So, you know, there's not really any real sports that's going to be coming out for at least another 6 to 8 weeks, especially once the first stretch of once the Hall of Fame game comes. But yes, I'm excited about seeing that. You know, now that room, and who knows? For all we know, you know, post June 1, we just, you know, freed up about $9 million in cap space by cutting Michael Gallup. Who knows? They may use that and spend that to potentially bring in another free agent running back. Who knows? You know, somebody may be out of a job before we even start training camp. But, you know, understanding that they had Deuce Vaughn at receiver, and that, I mean, we've seen them do a lot of weirdo stuff in this time of the year. He might not go back to that room when training camp starts. He may just be back in the running back room, and then they'll just, let him sink or swim, right? Who knows? But the goofiest thing I have heard all off season, as far as it relates to OTAs and minicamp, is these stories and reports coming out about Trigger Trey Lance taking second team reps. I just can't get jiggy with it, y'all. I'm sorry. I cannot get jiggy with it. That's not cool. It's not happening. It makes, I'm not going to say it doesn't make sense, but I guess maybe it's a part of the evaluation process to see how he looks with a higher tier of caliber player. throwing the ball to them. But I'm pretty much getting mediocre at best. They gave him an opportunity, and then the following day, Cooper Rush was back taking reps with the twos. So I really think it was just a trial. At one point in time, individuals seemed to believe that Trey Lance could potentially eventually take this team from Dak Prescott. Y'all, I don't see it. I do not see it. I know stranger things have happened, but Amp does not see it. That, to me, is goofy. Okay? Your tight end room. You got Fergie and them. Pookie and them, Ray and them, Roscoe and them, and then you got Fergie and them. Now, I say it that way as far as no disrespect, but I say in them because nobody to me has really seized TE2 in my eyes. I know we saw some great things. I like Hendershot. We saw some great things from him in the last couple of years. But he's been shaky. But with that, you also have individuals. Your team spent the second round pick on Luke Schoonmaker last year, and we have yet to see the returns on that investment. And it's going to be a while before we even get close to seeing it, because from what I'm hearing, he's battling back from injury sustained on last year. So to me, that leaves the door open. I've been hearing good things about John Stevens Jr. I've been hearing some good things about Brevin Spann-Ford. So who knows? Maybe those two individuals could potentially challenge Hendershot and Schoon, right? For playing time. I'm not talking about a spot on the team, but for playing time. And quite frankly, we could potentially run and keep 4 tight ends on this team. I believe it. We love John Stevens Jr. because of his size, his frame, his athleticism. But we also appreciate Brevin Spann-Ford for his size, his blocking. Basically, if I'm Luke, I'm shaking in my boots because, the things that we said about Luke Schoonmaker, Brevin Spann-Ford can do those things as well. And unfortunately, in the National Football League, sometimes it's not your play that determines your spot on the team. Sometimes it's just, can you stay healthy enough to secure a spot? He could potentially lose that spot by default, y'all. Excuse me. Now, switching to the defensive side of the field, right? You all know that we have Mike McCarthy as your head guy. And after the departure of Dan Quinn, he brought in former Cowboys coach Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer has his way of doing things. He has his preferences. He has his tendencies. And he has his own style. Now, I've heard the reports, and I'm not, trust me, y'all, I am not. Amp is not going to do this. Amp is not going to get into the whole Micah Parsons, Mike Zimmer situation. What I will say, What I will say, they need to get it together. They need to get it together. You have two individuals that are great in their own respect, right? However, if this defense is going to be successful in 2024, it is going to take a couple of things. It is going to take, one, compromise. Two, it is going to take everybody doing what they do best. And when I say that, I know we have individuals who have been players for this organization who have been flexible and can play multiple positions, right? That's cool. But what do you do best? I want to see us start to maximize our talent in that way. You know, for example, Tyler Smith. He can play both tackle and he can play guard. What I want to see from the Cowboys organization is for them to put him where they feel he operates best. Now, we lost a couple of pieces to free agency. Dante Fowler's gone. Lawrence Armstrong is gone. And so now, Cowboys Nation, that creates opportunity for other individuals to step up. One of our few off-season free agent moves, as you know, is we picked up Eric Kendricks, who is former player of Mike Zimmer. He knows Zimmer. He knows his system. And there's a certain comfortableness there, right? What I like about what I've heard from Kendricks is he still feels he has a lot to prove. But not only that, he still feels like he has a lot left in the tank and a lot to bring to the table. And he will more than likely be your green dot guy. Yes, we did lose LVE to retirement. I wish him well. I wish him and his family well as he transitions into another stage of his life. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not something I take lightly. Yes, there were times during the season that I was frustrated with this level of play, and it wasn't anything personal. I knew injuries were bothering him. They have plagued him for his entire football career. But I'm also sensitive enough to know that that wasn't something that he could help. And then in a lot of instances, and you go back and look at the tape, you see LVE make business decisions. And in a position where you need to be almost reckless to a point, in my eyes, he was too cautious, unfortunately. So it was time. It was time.